You cannot hate all new music. That makes no sense. Look, here's a bunch of new music I found on the floor. Hi everyone, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music, and it's time for LP, Cancer for Cure. LP is a producer and rapper and CEO of Definitive Jux Records. He got his rap career started in the 90s as a member of the hip-hop outfit company Flow. They released a very fondly looked back upon album by the name of Fun Crusher Plus and took a pretty experimental and sometimes dark angle to boom bap style hip-hop. And then he did what is probably his most celebrated achievement ever, producing the instrumentals for the Cannibal Ox record, The Cold Vein, which even after 10 years of it being released has stood up as one of the most significant modern underground hip-hop albums. From producing that, LP moved on to his debut album, really kind of came into his own, started making his instrumentals even more eccentric and building on his experience in company Flow to make his rapping much more forceful, lyrically dense, and highly referential. Since the release of that debut LP, LP has experimented with jazz, released tons of B-sides and instrumentals, put out a second full-length album where he built upon the sounds on his debut LP, and he has now been embracing this new generation of experimental hip-hop artists out of New York as well, collaborating with Das Racist and Mr. Motherfucking Esquire too. And most recently, he produced that badass new Killer Mike record that I love the hell out of. Now this is LP's third album, Cancer for Cure. It's been years since he has released a full-length rap album, but Cancer for Cure continues the sound of that album as if that gap wasn't even there. This album has a slightly more electronic feel which comes out in full force right from the get-go on the opening track. The song Request Denied features this breakbeat rhythm that totally has this Prodigy smack my bitch up kind of vibe to it. But the song is more of a show of production strength for me, with tons of pulsating synths and organ solo and some pretty nice drum fills too. Now, the LP that I'm actually looking for comes through hard on the second track, the full retard. Banging beat, bomb squad noisy like version 2.0, sick groove, fat synthesizers, really grainy drums, and a catchy vocal sample all make this instrumental awesome. LP comes in throwing out verses bragging about his MCing skills, and he proves them with really dense, tense verses, referencing everything from zombie creating viruses to Greek mythology, and throwing some really great rhymes at the end of every line and doing tons of internal lines. There are more strong, very muscular tracks like that, Drones Over Brooklyn, True Story, the Danny Brown and Mr. Motherfucking Esquire featured track Oh Hell No. There are a lot of high points on this album, but I feel like there are some letdowns too. A big gripe for me on this album, the hooks. For example, the track from My Upstairs Neighbor, If you kill him, I won't tell. Oh, I just cringe a little bit every time I hear him repeat that melody and just that lyric. It just breaks the momentum of what would otherwise be a pretty intense topical song dealing in your upstairs neighbor, murder, and not snitching on that person. Sadly, I was not into the hook on the song Tougher, Colder, Killer either, with Killer Mike and Despot. The chorus on this thing is so long and fits over the groove so awkwardly. It's one of the bulkiest choruses I've ever heard. The only hooks with melodic choruses that I think go over well on this album are the ones that feature guest singers like Paul Banks from Interpol or Nick Diamonds of the band Islands with the song Stay Down, which actually has a great melody on the chorus. It's a long melody but does not lose direction and resolves really nicely at the end of the chorus. So I'm not following LP on some of these choruses, and I have an even tougher time following him on some of the more conceptual tracks. The song The Jig Is Up is definitely one of the most awkward interrogation sessions, where LP seems to be kind of prying into this woman's mind, trying to find out why she's romantically interested in him, it must be because of some other kind of subversive reason. And the song Sign here is kind of a continuation of that track and is just really painful. I imagine for the person sitting through what's being rapped about in the track, and just for me listening. The last track on here, a lot like the intro, has a lot of production ambition, lots of colors, lots of synths, really hard beat, tried and true chord progression, a nice driving bass line. However, the song doesn't really have a lot of momentum to me. It doesn't have a lot of viscera. A lot like the ending of the song Drones Over Brooklyn, where you kind of have these heavy drum hits and it seems like it's supposed to be really powerful and dramatic and heavy, but it doesn't really end up being that way. You know, on this new album, LP is definitely as wordy as ever, definitely layering his production a little bit more than usual, incorporating new elements, and some really nice vocal guests too, none of which who I think ruin this album or take away from it in any way. However, it's not like this album isn't without its potholes for me. On this album, LP sort of comes off like an actor who only delivers one single emotional response in a myriad of different situations. So, for the most part, the production on this thing is great. The verses are very much worth reading into, and most of the time LP does stick to what he's great at on this album. I'm kind of feeling a decent to strong 6 on this thing. What did you guys think of it if you gave it a listen? I'm sure a lot of you did. Did you love it? Did you hate it? One of your favorite hip-hop albums of the year so far? Or maybe not? Let me know. Anthony Fantano, LP. Have a nice day. Forever.